job creation. Well, yes, the government of the day, across the state, at the federal level, maybe even at the local government level, have talked about the need to create jobs because the rate of unemployment just seems to be going up almost every year. Well, this time we're joined by Mr. Segun Olutade. He's been with the National Directorate of Employment and done a lot about employment matters. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Well, if you look at this challenge of unemployment in the country, I mean, you'll compare figures with the National Bureau of Statistics, and sometimes they tell you it's about 28.3, or 2011 it was 23.3%, and some say, well, at that time where you had a population of about 140 million, and if 23% of people are unemployed and 70% of people are youth, it means 50% of people are unemployed. And figures just keep going around. But you've been in this for a while. What did you find out when you were there?
Well, thank you. I think the last figure that I had is from the Minister of Youth, Mr. Abdullahi. And what he said is like we're having 68 million unemployed youths in the country. So if you have 68 million unemployed youths, I think what we should be looking at is there are jobs or there are no jobs actually. Because that's another thing entirely. There's unemployment on the increase. The unemployment is on the increase. But are we really having jobs for the youths? Are we really planning? That's the point. I was with the ND for 5 years in Ogun State. I was a PRO before I eventually founded the Shelter Watch Initiative when we started training artisans, because I realized that the fact that most Nigerian youths are not taking up some jobs. Take, for instance, mason, carpentry. There are jobs there. We have over 3 million, about 4 million jobs begging for attention of skilled youths.
Wouldn't that be underemployment for some of them?
No. You see, the point is like at times we are overrating ourselves because there are jobs. If there are jobs for some people to take over, then we need to retrain the aging artisans to retrain the youths and take over. Like when I was with ND Ogun State, we were using the technical college to train the youths. But we realized that even the artisans are not having jobs that would train the youths. And unfortunately, I think our record is getting worse because today the good jobs are being taken over by foreigners.
How do you mean taken over by foreigners?
Yes, if you go to, in 2009, we had a research, we asked some youths to take we paid some people to do kind of going through the job unemployment thing. Now we realized that between Agbara and Songo, I don't know if that's just one local government in Ogun State, we have over 30,000 Chinese and Indians doing the jobs of the young graduates can do in this country. I'm talking of Chinese, Indians working as a public relation officer, working as human resources managers, working as procurement managers. These are jobs that young graduates can do. And I can tell you, most of the people you see are even laborers coming in as expatriates. Last month, just 19th of last month, we were still with Ministry of Labour. We've written over 20 letters to the Minister on this. I'm sure if they're watching the presidency, we have a lot of letters. We've been working with the presidency on this. We have a very big fight with them. And we've been complaining of this. Where we're deceiving ourselves in this nation. It's all about these seats, their jobs.
In other words, you're saying when the president tells everyone that, look, I'm going to create a job for the people, you're saying that there are jobs already, so there's no need for us to be talking about job creation. Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is this. There are some jobs that we can still make do within ourselves. Yeah, we still have unemployment all over the world, right? But should not have been as bad as we are experiencing today. If you look at our leaders,
understand when you say there are jobs, that yes, we have jobs, there are jobs in Nigeria. How do you mean?
I've just said to you, like I said, can Nigerians be procurement managers? Do you say we need a Chinese or an Indian to be a procurement manager in my country? Are you saying you cannot go and buy things in your country? And if that is taking you too far, why don't you just go to Idumota Market and see how the Chinese are taking over from the women there? They were just at Lagos Chamber of Commerce to complain. These are jobs they can do.
What do they want to be done? It's an open market, and so you come with your skill. The other person comes with his skill. Yeah. And so it shouldn't be a buyer's market. I mean, a seller's market. It should be a buyer's market. And
yeah,
so
of course.
If both of them have got the skill, go and playing open, level playing field.
Yes, it should be level playing. But just like somebody will tell you that, yes, the world has become a global village where everybody can do anything, anytime. But do we really have a law in this country that says, this is how you come in, this is how you don't come in? I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. There is a law that says if you are coming in at an expatriate, we are giving a job to an expatriate in this country, NOTAP should advertise that this is one area we don't have people that can do this job. Not just, you just open through your own country.
As the Agency for Technology Acquisition.
Yes, you just don't open your country to say, yes, open market, nobody.
So what it seems you're saying is that, you know, we do have some jobs. Well, yes, we have to create more, but the ones that we have now, we're not guarding jealously.
God bless you.
That's basically what you're trying to say.
So, because you have the local contents law.
Yes.
And then they're working on that also. And so if that is in place and government comes up with this you-win strategy, so if you look at those efforts of government, can we say then that they don't seem to be doing anything, or is it that we seem to be ignorant, or even the ones they say they're doing?
The point is this. We have a law that says this is the way things should be done. But I'll tell you, the laws are just made for you and I, and not the people up there. Because when you're coming in with, take for instance, when you're coming in and you're finding somebody with a passport as laborers to come and work in Nigeria, I will say you cannot work as laborers in your country. That's one terrible thing. Like initially in Lagos, yes, that has stopped now. If you go to these rail lines, you see the Chinese breaking stones. I will say Nigerians cannot break stones. Are we so lazy?
So are we blaming who now for that?
You don't just go to Britain, just go to their country and say you're coming without just your labor when they have the people that can do it in their country.
No. Even in Britain that you talked about, they complain about the same thing. You have foreigners who come in and take up some jobs which locals think it's demeaning for them. So that challenge is the world over. So it's not peculiar to Nigeria alone.
Now, in Britain, if you're going in, you still just don't go in anyhow there. We've all had one time to travel or the other. And if you're doing it, you do it with plenty, or you don't just do it like that and flaunt it in the face of the people there. I'll give you a very good instance. If allow me, if I bring up my laptop, I will show you a company where you have about 5,000 Chinese working as artisans in one country, in just...
Did you bother to find out if they were given work permits? And if they do have work permits, then they're working legally.
I will tell you something like this. In a couple of maybe months, we'll be going to court to let you know that this is where we've gotten it wrong as a nation. We all have children that can walk. And this is where you have the issue of Boko Haram, because we're not taking care of our youths. We're taking everything lightly, we're throwing it out. And the government is saying, okay, we're asking investors to come in.
All right.
We are calling investors, but we're not talking. And one of the advantages, or one of the reasons for calling it for investors is to create employment.
You know, one very critical issue you raised initially was the issue of artisans. Do you say, will you say that Nigerian youths are looking down on certain professions?
On certain trades, yes, I would say yes. We are. And the only thing that government can do is to create awareness and encouragement so that they can take over from the aging. Our aging artisans are aging.
Is it just the government? I mean, how can we restore pride and dignity into certain, professions?
In such trades, one area says, I'll give you a very good analogy. People in the ministry, at least within the next 5-7 years, you'll be promoted. You can be in channels for 10 years and still be on the same salary. No, you will grumble. But we want artisans. We want a mason with a 30 years experience and a mason of maybe 6 months to be on 2,000 naira per day.
Is it fixed? Do they have a system like Conmess?
I don't know if you understand.
It's negotiable.
Because one other issue you should also be looking at is the professionalism with which they do their jobs. If the man who is coming in from maybe country A into Nigeria does his job better than the mason in Nigeria, who are you going to give your job to if you're aiming for profession there?
And that's where the government comes in. We were with the DG of NOTAPs. I'll give you a very good instance. And we were telling them, you cannot do this. I was brought up in Kano.
Do what?
No, I'm coming. I was brought up in Kano. And for long, I told my father one day when we were driving out, I said, come, one day this youth will rise up. They will rise up because, one, before you finish your food, they're already there to grab. And we were living maybe good. And you think things are all right. But at the end of the day...
That situation is different.
Okay,
the people in question have no skill whatsoever.
The government ought to, at that material time,
but we should draw the line to those who have at least a little skill
Okay.
of what they can do.
What they can
And
do.
so if you provide your services and I'm not satisfied with your services, am I supposed to continue with you? So that's
No,
a different
you're
level
not
entirely.
supposed to.
But be that as may, give us statistics now about while you were in NDE in Ogun State, what was the percentage of employment or unemployment and when you were in Ogun State?
When
What
I
did the
was in
state do?
Ogun State, I think the employment situation or the unemployment situation was not as bad as this.
What was the figure?
I can remember now, but because I was the first set of NDE when Babangida first started the thing, and I want to be sincere with you that they meant well when they started. But the point is that when they come to where we don't keep records, if you go to NDE today and ask them, yes, you've empowered maybe about 200,000 people. Can you give us the records of the people that are actually working?
What kind of empowerment programs did they implement at the time?
National Open Apprenticeship Scheme, well, that's one very good one they did. The one I always admire most is the National Open Apprenticeship Scheme, which they are still doing when they take the youth to technical colleges, then they train them there, take them to the artisans again to work on them. That's the National Open Apprenticeship Scheme. Then they have the Public Works Department too. So they have wonderful programs, especially the National Open Apprenticeship Scheme. But along the line, it failed.
Why?
If you ask me, the government at times meant well. The people that execute are the problems.
But we
Because
keep blaming the government.
you don't keep with the government. All of us are involved, one way or the other.
Because when you worked with the NDE, if you've taken pain to do some kind of research, which sometimes we have done, you find that, for instance, most people who ride Okada, when you ask them, you find that they were doing one form of job or the other.
Of course.
Now we're talking about most of them being being artisans. It's either you were a carpenter, a mechanic, but they left that for riding motorbikes. Why did they do that? Some say because they were not good at what they were doing then. It was a matter of patronage. Some few Nigerians that have come back to the country with better equipment to diagnose faults in cars,
Yeah.
they are still doing pretty well. So if you see someone coming in from Asia to do that same job that you have left and he has a work permit, why complain?
Let me help you out. You see, when you're training, government is the highest producer of quacks in this country. And I'll give it, yes, I will tell you why. You see, our leaders, politicians, want to score cheap publicity. And they will tell you, we have trained 200 carpenters, 700, how many months? 4 months. Can you use 4 months to train a carpenter? As a carpenter, to train somebody as a carpenter? No. But because they're after muchness, in quote now. They want to say, we have done so much that you can see the figure that we have done. And they'll push these guys out, buy equipment, and give to them. At the end of the day, these guys cannot perform. So, you cannot compare these guys. Even 20, 15 years ago, 20, 25 years ago, our artisans are wonderful.
It would seem that the problem is much more fundamental. I mean, than the schemes that we have now. How can we begin to correct it, and attack it at a much deeper level?
The skills, I think the aging artisans, the good ones, some of the ones like Shelter Watch, we are training artisans now. In a couple of months, Nigerians will be able to pick artisans on the net to say, these are good artisans that we can vouch for. Like if you check the paper, Punch of the 23rd of January, you see an 8-man, about 70, and 2 of his sons in the school. This is the uniform we wear to school. At Federal Laro, we decided to go back to the basics, and that is retrain the aging artisans. They have the knowledge.
Okay. All right. What other time? But do you think our value system has anything to do with any underemployment or employment?
Yes, it should be. Why won't have it?